Hi, Salam Alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant, breaker of the seven seals. Sisters and brothers, a special presentation today. And we're going to talk about the hypocrite, the main hypocrite. Mr. FARRAKHAN, the son of perdition, the one who he openly admits that Elijah Muhammad said would be his worst hypocrite. Now, why is he still around? It said he would be around for 42 years. 42 years after Elijah's departure. The son of perdition. In Daniel, he's referred to as the mouth. The mouth. Why? Because Aaron, that's his only attribute, was his mouth. He wasn't attributed to be wise, intelligent, anointed, anything like that. He was just supposed to be spokesman of Elijah, period. If Elijah told him to speak, he was supposed to speak. According to the sealed Bible, God even opposed him. It was upon Elijah's insistence that he was even selected. Read it. They don't want you to read Exodus. They tell you a little bit here, a little bit there, they twist scriptures. That should tell you something there. But the people, it tells you that followed the son of perdition, it wasn't that they was necessarily deceived. It was that they willingly followed. They knew it was a lie and they followed it anyway. So God brought upon them great delusion because they chose to believe the lie, even though it was made clear to them there was a lie. They chose to it. Yet there's a why would it? Well, it says they chose to it. So they was given a delusion because they chose to believe the lie. Because it's obvious. He's the son of perdition. He's Aaron that followed after Moses, after Elijah, who deceived the people, had them wander around the wilderness for 42 years. See, but he serves a purpose. He serves a purpose, a very important purpose. But that's who he is. He's a liar. He lies about everything. He betrayed the messenger. When I was there, I'm not talking hearsay, I was present when he was bad-mouthing the messenger. We have tapes him bad-mouthing the messenger right on the internet. Just go on YouTube. There's tapes him bad-mouthing the messenger, saying the messenger, he didn't believe everything the messenger said. He didn't believe in Master Prophet Muhammad. You have him saying these things. He said out of his own mouth, anyone who believed in Elijah Muhammad 100% was a fool. So I'm saying, okay, what percentage does he believe in him then? What percentage makes him a fool? So what's behind all of this? See, first of all, we have to understand what a demon is. And most of you have no idea what a demon is. That's part of the problem right there. Because they want you to think the spook world, right? See? Where everything is invisible, everything is spirits. Whereas that's not, we don't do things like that. That's their idea to conceal their identity. There's no spooks, there's no spirit, no spiritual realm. You have no special spirit that departs from you after you die and all this nonsense. But that's to hide their identity. Because they're all around you. See? But the devils, it talks about the wheat and the chaff. Someone sowed their seed amongst the wheat. That was the chaff. Now that's a parable you should understand. But if you understand that, you understand the rest of them. Because It's talking about the devil that sowed their seed amongst our women, but you are what your father is. That's biological fact. Which means that if his father's a devil, he's a devil. That's what demon is, a devil, right? That's got other than a devil mother. That's what demon is. So they camouflage. See Farrakhan? He was the biggest shouter. Hey! I mean, you could not listen, you could not hear Elijah Muhammad him shout, hey, yeah, yeah. He's one of those clappers. I don't want those people around me. Clappers, clappers, clappers. And as soon as Elijah Muhammad departed, he turned on him like a vicious snake. But a demon, see, they said we'd be plagued by demons because they can come amongst you concealed, a wolf in sheep clothing. It warns you about these people. And the chief demon would be, right? Legion, Louis Eugene Grounds in right backwards. See? He was sitting in Elijah's seat. It says, be not deceived. The fallen way will come first, and then the man's sin will be revealed. But he reversed it. He says, well, some addition to the person, right? But he said, no, it's all the Jews. And now he's exposing them like Elijah Muhammad did not. Now I'm exposing them, now they've fallen away. He says, no, be not deceived. So why would they say be not deceived? Why do they emphasize that? But he's trying to deceive you. Because some addition to the individual, he'd be sitting in the temple, in Elijah's temple, in his seat. So though you deceived by him, fine. You keep on being deceived by him. Because he's part of the gravitational vortex. See, those who was climbing out and was getting near to the break free, he's that last grasp to pull back. See, they climbing, trying to be free. Those, try to hold on to Elijah Muhammad, trying to be free, crawling out. He's there to get that last pull back. Anyone that might escape all the other, to escape all the capitalism, the Sunniism, the Christianity, and escape all of that. See, so almost break free of the gravitational vortex. He's there to catch him, pull him back. And he's caught a lot. That's what he's there for. His souls will escape everybody else. See, because Elijah Muhammad was preparing you to escape it. But you need Suleiman to come along to give you the finish, give you the direction, show you how to finish, to completely escape it. Because you have to be in his book of life, not Elijah Muhammad's book of life. You have to escape it completely. And that's part of escaping it, is not only the mental side, but the physical side. Getting out of here. Getting out of here. Going back to your own land. So it's clear who Farrakhan is. They lie about him all the time. This COVID, he didn't see that coming. That was the easy one. 1619 to 2019, that's 400 years, right? 2020 will be a plague that will kill the firstborn. That's the elderly. That's what it's doing. And it's passing over us. Oh, no, it's killing all blacks. No, that's not true. It's killing the demon blacks, not killing us. I've caught a couple of times. I'm nearly 73 years old. Unless I'm dreaming, he hasn't taken me out yet. So he says, well, God sent this plague. See, he didn't mention it until 7 months afterwards. He had a so-called Savior's Day, his so-called Savior's Day, right? Because he changed it from Savior's Day, Master Muhammad's Day, to Savior's Day. Did you pay attention to that? That means he includes him also, right? So, end of February 2020, the plague was already in country in January. It was known, it was publicized. But in February, he didn't mention it, not in any context, no way. He said the unraveling of America, but he never mentioned anything about that plague. Not anything, not even close. No smoke, no fire, anything. And people were dying already. See, he talked all about his head totally up Kobe's behind. We must confuse Kobe with COVID. And then 7 months later, from January and July, then he talks about it. So I said, well, you supposed to, I thought you were a prophet. He says, the master prophet. Why do you talk about it beforehand? And then he steps up with a mask. He said it's from God. So why would God send a plague that's going to kill his anointed? Why he should be afraid of it? It's all over the scriptures who he is. It's not confusing. It tells you in Malachi. It said, will a man rob God? They say, oh, nobody's coming after Elijah. That's not what Malachi said. See, these people, they're all there to keep you down. See, some of them are stuck in the gravitational vortex, and they either don't know it or don't care. And they're trying to hold you too, because we create a new reality. And how do we create that reality? We create out of this reality. You don't just create energy. You make a cake by changing one reality to another. You get dough, you get flour, you get sugar and eggs, all that kind of stuff. And you change that reality into something else, and you can't call it a cake. You didn't create a cake out of nothing, out of nowhere. You had to change one reality to something else. And we're going to change this reality to something else. But when you do it, you destroy the old reality. The eggs don't exist anymore. The flour doesn't exist anymore. The sugar doesn't exist anymore in its old form. Now it's in a new form. It's a cake. So we're going to change this, and anything that's part of old reality be destroyed with it. So they're still stuck down in Master's gravitational vortex. And so all these people, they're stuck in it too. The Sunnis are stuck in it. Oh, the Quran, that's the last. Prophet Muhammad is the last. That's what the Quran says. The Quran says Allah will give you guys anytime he wants to. You can't tell him Allah what he's going to do with it. But besides, he want to give you. He never said he's not going. There's not going to be any more guidance after that. He never said like. He never said Prophet Muhammad was the last one. He said Prophet Muhammad was the seal of the prophets. What does that mean? So they interpret that to mean he's the last one. Tell me what context the seal means last. So you seal something to protect it. You don't seal something to make it the last. Tell me what context does seal mean last? But they say, oh, he's the last. That's not, so they want to believe that fine. They caught in the belief, matrix, but also caught in the gravitational vortex. And part of the reason why they're caught, because they're our enemies, because they can't step forward into the future because the future is not good for them. See, they don't want to follow Master Farrakhan Muhammad into the future because the future means they have to give that land because that land belongs to us. So they want to hold things back like they are. See, if you're doing good and everything's working well for you, you don't want to move. You don't want to change. Why would you want to change? You're going to resist change because change means, right, that they're going to change your reality and now it's your reality that you have right now is not going to exist anymore. And you don't know what the next reality is going to be. So you want to hang on to this one because, I got a good here, man. I'm a billionaire. I got all this and I got beautiful women. I got all this, right? You're going to resist change. And as soon as they're going to resist change, they're rich over there. Sunni Arabs, they got the best land, and all this. So they don't want any change. And for us to follow behind Master Muhammad and accept what Muhammad talked about, that means change, and especially for them because the land belongs to us. That means they have to give it up. So they're your enemies. Anyone that resists you is your enemy. Anyone that resists you is your enemy. The devils are resisting you. False Israel has stolen your identity. They're resisting you in a very fundamental way because they're trying to They try to make the world seem that you don't exist because they've taken your identity. So what does that mean for you? And over here, they're telling you that you're Ham. See, Ham is Seth's son. Seth was cursed. His seed, his descendants were cursed to be slaves forever. They use that to justify your enslavement, perpetual enslavement. But that's not true. And Abraham covenant tells you. I mean, there's so many things, bro, that I can talk to you about, but there's no one keeping up, even trying to keep up with me. Well, I'm not going to say that. Because there's a couple of sisters out there, one in particular, right? She broke one of those, she mapped things and sealed perfectly. No one's ever done that before. And she came pretty close, but she had a little help. So I ain't gonna say nobody, because that is not a light thing. I tell you, that's not a light thing. See, your sisters get it. And you want to put these sisters down. Like they don't do anything. How you get here? You want to go through 9 months of that? To bring yourself into existence? Anyway. In the Abrahamic covenant, right? In the Bible, sealed Bible, Abraham is not called Abraham, it's called Abram. The Ham part is not there. See, most people miss that. Because, see, they would call us Ham. They won't tell you that, but that's what they've been teaching all the churches up till. They're still teaching in churches now. They're not going to be, clear with it, because, politically correct. But we're supposed to be, when they go and try to figure out who's there, because they'll tell you, if you go on the internet every day, they'll tell you. They won't tell you all the particulars so you understand exactly where they're coming from. But they go and try to find a genealogy of everybody. They say, well, these came from these people, these came from these people, and what happened to Noah's sons? That you have to go over there. Go and Google and say, what happened to Noah's sons? They'll tell you. We are descendants of Seth. They descendants of Seth went to Africa. That was Ham. They ain't gonna go and tell you about the part Ham was supposed to be enslaved. Maybe somebody tell you that, because it gotta be politically correct, that they were supposed to be enslaved perpetually, because they got the CRT thing trying to make us theory. But that's what they were thinking. They still think that way now. They just can't say it openly. So they would designate us as Ham, which is not correct. But that's why Abraham covenant called Abram without the Ham part, because he would be separated from his people that they call Ham, that they enslaving him. Because later on he's called Abraham, and they put back together. That's another little tidbit. But all this is coming to a head when the root of all this is cut down. And that's what Master Muhammad is getting ready to do. Cut that root down, because the root of it is false Israel. They're the root of all of this confusion. They're the root of this gravitational vortex. Because, you have the eye of it, like, the everything that circles around, right? So that's the foundation of, like, the eye of a storm, so to speak. Right? Once that's taken out, all that stuff unravels. The resistance starts breaking down. Hold on for a second, brothers and sisters. Let me check something here. So that gets back to abomination of desolation, which is crucial, but no one's telling you about it. That's the sign that you need to know about if you wish to survive this reality to go into the next one, because we're time travelers. You need to understand the nature of time. It's not clocks. It's not even the sun. The devices used to measure a certain type of time, the flow of time. But the flow of time is determined by how you convert energy from one form to another. Because there's no conversion, there's no time. I mean, everything just stands still. Universe just stands still. There's no time. Time has to be a flow of energy. You have to convert energy from one form to another, and that's what we perpetually do from beginning to the end, to the end to the beginning, to the end to the beginning. We do it forever. We've been doing it forever, and we'll do it. Continue to do it forever. We convert energy from one form into another. That's what time really is. Because you can't create energy and you can't destroy it. You can only convert it. And that's because we're creators. That's what it means, creator. Because we create, because we take energy from one form and take it to another. And that's what's going on now, because it's time for a new, in other words, time has changed. Because even if we went on just like KB has it right now and we didn't change time, this whole civilization would be destroyed anyway, because it's out of time. Because time is moving on. And they would have to keep on. Remember, in other words, they can't just stay static. So they have to keep on building more frames to this time. See? More frame every day. Because every day we have to create every day. Day doesn't come by, so we have to create every day. And the way they create it, they're destroying themselves. That's what I'm saying. Even if we didn't do anything and we step back, because they create destructive time. Because look at the world as it is right now. This is the time they created. They took gold and transformed it into shit. And that's what they do. When they was locked up in Europe for 1,000 years, they turned into a shithole. It was hell on earth there. That's why they was trying to escape. It was so great. Why was they trying to escape? And once they escaped, they went all over the world changing, turning gold into shitholes. Everywhere they went, they came in to cause destruction. They went out stealing, killing, and destroying. Exactly like Jesus said they would do. They would go out, the devils would go out seeking to kill, steal, and destroy. Because they was turning everything, everywhere they went. They didn't find poverty. They didn't find sickness. They didn't find tyranny. They brought it with them. They left shit in their wake. Because they turned gold into shit. They was looking for gold. See, they're looking for gold. That's what they want. But they turned into shit. That's it. They're turning the whole world into shit. The world's all in an uproar right now because of them. Why is China and Taiwan? Well, because Taiwan and Hong Kong and all of them was part of China. They the ones that separated them. So now China wants it back. What about India and Pakistan? Same thing. India wants it back. They was one country. And because these devils, they the ones broke it up. Look at this country here. People across the border, they want their country back. This country belongs to, they're not immigrants. They're not illegals. They're not aliens. This is their country. Especially Texas. Look at that hypocrite. Especially Texas and California and New Mexico. Why do you call it New Mexico? They took that from the Mexicans. They want it back. They caused all this confusion. And this land is not theirs. Remember, kill, steal, and destroy. They stole all these lands. They stole Australia, New Zealand, Canada, North America. They stole all these countries. And they killed all the habitants. Steal, kill, and destroy. And destroyed us as a people. They destroyed cultures. Destroyed nations. Exactly what it is. There's no confusion there. And he did all on the banner of the cross. There's no confusion there. So when people don't want to hear this, then don't argue with them. Because it's clear. Because they're going to tell you about something that makes no sense. There's no logic to it. Because they're ignorant. And why? Because they're caught up in the gravitational vortex. See? So they love this. If you love this, you're going to ignore all other stuff. If you love what you have, they love here. They love that little BMW they have, whatever. If you love here, then you ain't going to listen to anybody tell you about leaving. I don't care how clear it sounds. Why would it's not going to make any sense to you? Because you got emotional attachment to this. When you have an emotional attachment, it's like a drug addict. He got emotional attachment to those drugs. So nothing you can say is going to make sense to him, even though it's totally logical. Nothing, because he got a strong emotional attachment to it. So he's caught up in a gravitational vortex of his own. So nothing, you can argue with him all you want, it's not going to happen. That's why he try to argue with these people that call Christian, because they got emotional attachment. Most of them are demons. They say half of the blacks in America are demons anyway. So therefore, it's nothing that you can say because they got a massive emotional attachment to their daddy, because that's their seed, that's their blood. They might have some of our blood in them, but their nature is with their daddies. So nothing you're going to say, and we don't want them anyway. And then you got the other people that's caught up. Then you got the time makers. See, they lack this time. They said, if you love this world's life, you cannot go into hereafter. All these things just add up, brothers and sisters. I try to connect the dots for them. They're easy to connect. So you got original people. They lack what's happening here. I mean, we don't knock them for that. The Quran doesn't knock for that either. So if you lack what's happening here, we'll give it to you if you like it. But you ain't getting it in the hereafter. There's nothing for you in the hereafter. So we are knocking it. If you like it here, and you're an original person, then fine. You made your heaven here, then enjoy it as long as you can, because we're getting ready to destroy this whole reality because we bring in a new reality. You cannot have two realities. As Elijah Muhammad says, one nation falls, another comes into existence. That's why he's explaining it. But I'm explaining to you mathematically. You change, you have to destroy one reality, right, to bring in a new one, because you destroy it by transforming it to something else. It says, I'll make all things new, and the former things will never be remembered, because they won't be exist anymore, because you change that reality to something else. You change energy to something else. And FARRAKHAN, the demon, he lacks this. He's doing well. He tells you, I mean, you got to understand the nature of parasite. Devils and demons are parasites, like I said, because they want gold, but they can't create gold. They create shit. See, parasites, they love your blood, but they can't create blood. They suck your blood, only thing you get back from them is an itch. Like with FARRAKHAN. You be scratching your head, itch. Oh man, what happened to all that money we've been giving him 42 years? Because all you do is an itch. He took all your blood and he left you an itch. Scratching your head, hey man, what happened to that? So he's got his designer glasses, his mansions, what they call it, bill cars and all that kind of stuff, right? He hasn't produced a damn thing because he can't. Elijah Muhammad, produce. You gave him, and you got something back in return. You got more back in return actually than what you gave, because I was part of that. I mean, we like doing Elijah Muhammad's time, right? Once I got the hang of everything, got going, right? I was living in Elijah Muhammad apartment complex. Beautiful. Didn't cost much either. Right? I had a brand new car, financed through my Nation of Islam bank. I was a foreman at Muhammad Speak newspaper. I shopped at the Muhammad Speak grocery store and went to Muhammad Speak restaurants. I had no connection with devils. I mean, it's like they didn't exist anymore. And I was like 22 at the time. See? You have to understand, but you can't explain. And then you got these people that says, oh, well, I can't understand why the people don't get this truth. How come they don't react to it? Well, you reacted to it? You got it. You ain't doing anything with it. Well, why your little cane telling I know something? You ain't doing anything with it. They don't. You understand why they not reacting? How are you reacting? They don't have it, but you got it, and you should be fired up. You should be rocking the planet with all the information you got, because no one in history, the Quran tells you, the Bible tells you also, no one in history has as much knowledge as you have been given to that much people in such a short period of time anywhere. And there's no place on the planet that you're getting this kind of information. this kind of truth, this only light that's on the planet right now. The only light that's on the planet right now. And if I'm allowed to show me, just go on and show me a video where somebody's giving you light, explaining things to you, right? Not giving all this BS stuff they can't prove, spirits and spooks. Show me. So why is it that the only light is right here? And look on me. That's what the scripture said would happen. Not that I'm bound by scripture. Brothers and sisters, you just don't understand. You got enemies everywhere. Because everything, look at China, for instance. That means their whole reality has to be destroyed. They're building this great reality for themselves. Both can exist. It says all things, right? Make all things new. When you say something, all things new. It means they have to be subject to our reality. Those that survive it. It says, the Quran says, it's going to make only one religion will be accepted, just one. That's religion of mathematics. This whole world is walking around with this belief matrix, this religious insanity, and we're getting ready to turn the world back to the truth, mathematics. That means all this has to be wiped out, all of it. You don't understand, brothers and sisters. If you did, you'd be fired up. You'd be going 24/7. Not sticking your toe in the water, see how cold it is. But again, it says Suleiman's first war would be with the demons. That's why I hit FARRAKHAN so hard, because we played with demons. Like I said, he's the one that after everybody is taken and failed, and everybody's trying to, right? It's like what sperm, right? All the sperms, millions of them trying to find an egg, right? He's the one that stands right there, the egg, as soon as you show up. The one that gets through all of that, trick him. Hey, man, you don't want to get in that egg. You're going to get in that egg. Goes to a new reality. That's where he stands at the door against those that survive, get through everything else. That's his job. He's being paid. He's under control of America. He's being paid by the Sunnis. Because again, they're on board with that. They're on board with deception of false Israel. They don't want to move into the future. Because they don't want to admit that false Israel is not real, because that means that we're the true seed of Abraham. And if we're true seed of Abraham, that means we're the true owners of that land there. That means we're their brothers who they deceived, who they threw into slavery, because they know they did that. See? That's the story of Joseph. All these things are very clear, brothers and sisters. So if you want to argue with these people, fine. First, you need to make sure, right, that you on the right path. Because if you're not clawing your way out of the gravitational vortex, how in the hell are you going to get them out? Hey, man, we got to get out of this gravitational vortex. And then you all in it. Oh, man, let's get Thanksgiving turkey. Let's get that cooked. Let's go to Mama's house, see what's under the tree. Oh man, Master, can I do some overtime? Got all the overtime of Master, but you ain't got time enough to speak to your people. And that's why I said my people are lost for lack of knowledge, because a lot of would make. See, you got some people climbing, this ain't gonna get out fast enough. Because when they close that door, it's over. If you haven't climbed out by then, it's over. You better look at that angel key close again. Only ones that elected, only ones that successfully climbed out. Islam didn't climb out, so they had to go through tribulation. If people climb, they ain't gonna climb out fast enough. And part of the reason, because, like I said, every time you go out there, you open your mouth, and it's the wisdom that you think you have, you let out. That's a vector. That's a vector. Vectors are force, mathematical force elements. And so therefore, because every time you say something, you influence them, but they're being influenced by other vectors. And so they have to, their mind is trying to figure out which one is the way to go. So there, other vectors are, in other words, if I'm punching with one punch and they punch with 10 punches, you see what I'm saying? So in other words, if I'm pushing this way with 1 pound of pressure and they pushing the other way with 10 pounds of pressure, which way is it going to go? It's going to go that way. I'm slowing down a little bit, but it's going to go that way. And that pounds are forces. Weight is force. So every time you open your mouth, you release. That's what it says. It says the mouth will be a two-edged sword. Every time you open your mouth and get out, and you know, about videotapes, you know, all that stuff. That means you commit vectors, and that vector changes direction of that person to the extent of the power of that vector. So, say for instance, the person moving. So you got a weak vector, you might change their direction by 1 degree. But if the enemy is changed by 10 degrees, right? Then that means they're going 9 degrees in the enemy's direction. You only slow them down by 1 degree. But if you're doing 20 degrees and the enemy is doing 10 degrees, you put them 10 degrees in your direction. But if you're not saying anything, then the enemy does 10 pounds of pressure. They 10 degrees in the enemies because you get total response from his action. Total 100% reaction from his action. 100% positive reaction, I should say. See, because if you apply 10 pounds of pressure and they apply 20 pounds of pressure, then it's 10 pounds of pressure in their direction. You slow them down. But if you're sitting there not saying anything, then they put 10 pounds, 20 pounds of pressure, there's 20 pounds of pressure in their direction. And so we got 5 billion pounds of pressure. Our people being 5 billion pounds of pressure has been applied on their minds. 5 billion pounds of mental pressure has been applied on their minds. It says Suleiman is the only one applying positive pressure. See? But he's not one. He's like 1,000 because the angel is so much more powerful. It's a more powerful force, right? Greater force destroys or defeats lower force. That's why he walked alone. So he was able to help them slow down a little bit. But they got 5 billion pounds of pressure coming against from the other direction. 5 billion people on this planet. So we see the problem that people have. And there's no one on this side helping him. Because every time you give someone the angel and they start using it, see, their power is like 1,000 times more powerful than one out of that 5 billion. Like 1,000 to 1. Because the angel's so powerful. Maybe even 1,000,000 to 1. But still, if I'm applying if my angel, the angel is applying a million pounds of pressure, and they're applying 5 billion pounds of pressure, how many times a million goes into 5 billion? 5,000 times. They're putting 5,000 times more pressure than I am. I'll just slow them down a little bit. Hold on, brother. We're going to wrap this up. I can't seem to get them to understand that mathematics. They think that's just Facebook mathematics. No, it's real mathematics, brothers and sisters. Better study vectors. But they're not studying vectors, not studying mathematics, that's an angel. And even if they study it, they ain't doing anything with it. So what's the point? What's the point of you studying? You're not doing anything with it. Get open your mouth. It's no breaks. What if you were out there and your life is on the line. You got some clown over there talking about, man, I'm gonna get around to it. Right? When I find some time. And your whole family got wiped out because this person had it, but did nothing with it. See? So he don't really care about you. Because if your family is in a burning house, you're not going to go in there and stop what you're doing and go in there and risk your life to save them. If that's what you think, that's your family. So if these people, you love them, so why you got other things to do? So you will not be a leader in the hereafter if you make it. Because how the hell are you going to be leader then when you wasn't a leader now? You know, how do you think kings and princes become kings and princes and so forth? Because they led the people through war, so now the people reward them because they showed they were leaders. They was tried through war. So they got the people through war, so they proved that they was a leader. They don't just walk up and say, I'm going to lead you. See? I had to prove they don't acknowledge it now, but they will acknowledge later, right? That I put the work in, I deserve to be the high priest, though I don't really care about that. I mean, that's one of the paradoxes, because I can't understand why I was even chosen to do this, because I don't want to tell anybody what to do. I don't want to lead anybody. I don't want to lord over anybody. I don't want to be king over anybody. I don't want any of that. I want to be, I'm a hermit. I keep telling you I'm a hermit. Rather be by myself. I don't have a problem walking alone. I never had no problem 30 years walking alone. Had no problems. I was totally happy with that, because it's not that I don't like people. I'm just a hermit by nature. That's me. What can I tell you? They telling me in prophecy, I'm be doing all this. I'm be, high priest. I ain't let somebody call me a high priest. I don't even want to call any titles. I just say, well, only reason I even just talk about master, because we have to learn to show respect when somebody qualifies something, right? Accomplishment. We call him Master Muhammad, not just call him master, right? Because his accomplishment. He's mastered something. They call it a doctor. He had to, you can't just be a doctor. You have to go in and get the skills to be a doctor, even though they're doctors, not really doctors. Other than that, I tell everybody, don't be dishonorable stuff, right? And I don't want to hear that stuff. I'm not interested. See? But I have mastered angels. So I deserve that. And I would rather not even use it, but the point is, we have to start teaching our people to show respect for accomplishments. So that's part of my responsibility is preparing our people for that. Because when they show accomplishment, we have to give them credit for, when they master something, we have to give them credit for that. But Elijah Muhammad, he's going to have a place in hereafter, but he's not the eternal leader of Nation of Islam like these clowns say. See, they add titles to him. Elijah Muhammad said clearly, I'm just the messenger of Allah. But now he's the eternal leader. See, they use that to build up their credibility. See, because now they know he is not the eternal leader of Nation of Islam, not even close. He's just the messenger of Allah. But he will have a place because he earned it. 40 years. Master Muhammad deserved to be your God. Because he earned it. He didn't sit over there in Mecca and say, well, I'm going to wait to see what happens. He's been working nearly 100 years to prepare for your salvation. So why will you not recognize your God if he's the only one to save your ass? Because once he saved you and then you come calling on Jesus, he's going to throw your ass back in the fire. But let Jesus pull you out. That ended that BS. Oh, well, Jesus did. Okay, well, Jesus did it. Throw your ass back in the fire, have Jesus pull you out. That ended that BS, because we don't have no more of that stuff. Brothers and sisters. So, are you a leader? If you're a leader, our people need you. But if you got other things, you're not a leader. But you want to be a leader. You guys, they want to be. They want to be son of man. They want to be one. They don't want to put the work in. Because they did. How come they didn't break the 7 seals? He said you had to put the work in. He said no one could do it. There had to be the work in to do it. That's why you can call him master, because it said no one could do it, not even a God. No one could do it but him. That means he had to put a lot of work in. I mean, it took great sacrifice to do that. That shows he's the leader of his people. Because he did that, he didn't have to do it. I didn't even want to do it. I wasn't looking for that. I didn't see any of this coming. I sure wasn't doing it so I could be the king or lord on that stuff. Like the other clowns, they do it because they want to be big man. See? And that's why they're so proud to accept this man. I don't care. Because that means they're still stuck in the gravity vortex and good. See? Because that gravity vortex is cleaning our nation up. That's called culling. Because anybody survived that, they're going to be okay. Like I said, 104 per 1,000, they was out blamed. They was not corrupt with the woman. That means they had broken, it was not corrupt with the woman. That means they had broke the gravitational vortex. They had broken it. Now they remain to be united. It says when Suleiman put his spirit in them, that's now united. Great army. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Because some of you are not taking it serious, but you will take those flames serious. No one can get the message to you. Prophet Muhammad said that the judgment was so serious, he wasn't sure he could survive it. He would survive the judgment. You have no idea what this judgment is about, brothers. In fact, you're in judgment right now. Whether you can overcome, right? Because we've been in judgment actually for the last 4 or 5 years to see if you overcome the devil's reality. The gravitational vortex, and it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Man, he's got so much. Oh man, he done made. He done got this gravitational vortex so strong now. You got to be the mental Hulk to get past it, through it. They got something for everybody. I ain't seen so many movies. I mean, if I was, you know, along disposed along those lines, I'd be an actor. Because all those movies and series that got there, I mean, somebody's got to be doing that. When they got millions of series out there, and I mean, they got all kinds of distractions. They were having it, people wasn't paying attention to it. Then they had this Kanye thing. I looked at a few minutes. I said, "What the hell? He's got some stupid boots on and stupid and what was it? None of them made any sense. That place was packed. Well, they should have been studying how to get the hell out of here. They don't even know about the Abrahamic covenant. If you understand Abrahamic covenant, you've been trying to get your ass out of here. Because this place is being under plagues. America's under plagues right now. It's Exodus. How come Farrakhan, I tell you that? America since 2020 been under plagues. It says Exodus. The plague, first plague would be the first, the death of the firstborn. That means elderly. And will continue until the ninth plague that would drive us out. That's the abomination of desolation. That's the final plague when false Israel goes down, right? The gloves will come off, the mask will come off, and they're going to kill you because their whole reality, their whole hope, their whole vision is based on false Israel being the truth. And this war taking place, some are begging, praying for this war, because that's when Jesus will come back and save the world and get rid of all the Muslims, everybody, all the niggers and everything else. That's what all the churches are teaching, even the black ones. That's their hope. And that hope is dashed in an instant. False Israel goes down because that proves that they're not the true thing. Because Master Muhammad's two gods get ready to clash: Satan and Michael, the two angels. Well, Satan is an angel, but he's not an archangel. You understand what an archangel is? Gabriel and Michael are archangels, and Lucifer's an archangel also. But two gods are collab. The God of this reality against the God of the next reality. Jesus told you that the God of this reality is Satan. He said the God of this world, which means the God of reality is Satan. That means the whole reality is ruled by Satan. Who's the master of this reality right now? America. Who's the master of this reality we live in right now? America. They control this whole reality we live in. They got the whole world living on this reality, and the whole world believing false Israel is the truth, because they're going 24/7, right, to make sure false Israel is successful, because That's the whole idea. They cannot be uprooted if they're the true seed of Abraham. And they're doing everything 24/7, 365 to make sure nothing ever happens to them. They're going bankrupt in the process of doing it. 1 second here, brothers, then we're going to close out. They go 24/7, right? 365 to make sure they're successful, they're not taken down, because they're trying to prove they did that, set them up in 1948 to counter the fact that Elijah Muhammad told that we're true to Abraham, we got to prove the facts. So they set them up to counter that. Now they got the whole world believing that, right? Because if you don't take, see here, if you don't take and celebrate, worship, expect false Israel's right to exist, you cannot buy or sell. That's what chapter 13 is talking about. 666, not just some mark. You cannot buy or sell. That's sanctioned. Who is the only country in the world that's associated with it, that connects with Britain, right? Because Britain is behind it. That sanctions everybody on the planet. You cannot buy or sell unless you do what they tell you to. And if you're against false Israel, you get killed. Or that's what it says. If they will kill you, ever said in chapter 13, if you don't worship the image of the beast. Why is it image? So well, it's going to be some kind of computer thing? No. Because you got three there. You got one who was slain by death, but his wound was healed. See, this whole thing took place in the 40s. Remember? So in the 40s, America was slain by Japan, but it was healed. But during that same time, Britain was slain by India, right? But it wasn't healed. The empire collapsed. America's empire went up. That's a two-horn ram in Daniel, where we had two horns, but the last one camp was greater. The greater one, that's America and Britain, right? So that's what it's talking about. See? And that's what's happening in chapter 13. So false Israel's government is an image, an exact copy of the British government. That's what it means, the image of the beast that was slain by the sword and was not healed. See, because when they lost India, they lost empire. All this happened during the same time. That's what it's talking about. And so just simply forget about all the other stuff I just said. Just simply put, right? Who is telling everybody in the world, talking about some Antichrist coming? That is the Antichrist. False Israel is the Antichrist. It tells you, and it says there's many Antichrists, not just one individual. It says many. And you would not be able to buy or sell. Buy or sell if you go against America, false Israel, and Britain, Gog and Magog. That's the truth of it, simple truth. Now tell me somebody on the planet that's causing sanctions that can do that with the power of the dollar. They put sanctions on everybody, tell them they can't buy or sell if they cross them, especially if they go against false Israel. It's clear and persistent, brothers. It's very clear. That's what that is. That's what it is. So the whole world is built on that. Worshiping those three beasts. Specifically false Israel. And when false Israel is taken down, that's the God of this world. As what Jesus said, they're the God of this world. That means the God is reality. So when they're taken out, America and Britain are their servants, so to speak. God and Magog, when there's their bodyguards in a way. So when the false Israel was taken down, because America and Britain is about to be defeated. They're about to go to war, they're about to be defeated. And that means false Israel will be left abandoned. See? Undefended, on their own, surrounded by armies, under siege by the Shia. who has defeated America and Britain with the help of Michael, Master Farrakhan Muhammad. Michael and his angels go to war with the dragon and his angels. See? That's another thing. I told you the dragon sorted the house of Saud. And they tell you, oh man, you cannot make peace. You cannot make friends with the Christian and Jews, or you one of them. Well, how come all of a sudden? I've been telling you for years. I mean, crazy, man. They ain't gonna never be peace with Israel. That's what he used to tell me years ago, 10 years, 15, not long ago. Now the so-called Abraham Accords, all of a sudden, they're meeting with the false Israel, making agreements against another Muslim country. I told you, I've been telling you for years, now you see it. Everything I've been telling you is coming into focus. Everything. That's the power of the angel. In spite of all the other voices. See? See? This will happen though the polytheists be averse, as the Quran says. So now, why are they making peace with all Israel? The Quran says, they tell the mass people, if you do that, man, you one of them. Maybe you can't do that, but now they're doing it openly. The Quran says, that means you want them. That shows you the house of Saud. I told you, they're not Muslims again, but they're not even Arabs. Now they're making peace. Because that's the dragon. Who is the dragon's angels? God, Magog, and Antichrist. America, Britain, and false Israel. They're going to war with the Shia and Master Muhammad. They're about to be defeated. They're about to be defeated. And once they're defeated, false Israel will be left abandoned. It's going to be taken down. That's the abomination, desolation. When you see that, it says flee. Because then they understand, at that point in time, they will understand clearly that you are the true seed of Abraham, and what that means. They made that calculation in a second. What that means that they have to get rid of you, because what you have done shall be done to you. Who's going to do it? We're going to be doing it. FARRAKHAN said, no, you can't treat them like they treat us. See, he's a liar. It's not what the Bible says. It says, what you have done shall be done to you. So who's going to be doing it? They know all these plagues that they're suffering, and they're not going to let up, and it's because of us. And so it says you have to flee immediately, because they're going to make that calculation. So where are you fleeing from? You're fleeing from your neighbors. Maybe somebody sitting in the same bed with you, because they're going to cut your throat. I'm going to leave you there, brothers and sisters, and I'll try to explain to you. And Paul says, the demons, 17 million strong, they're right behind, pushing you to hold on, stay into this gravity vortex, keep you in it until it's too late, until it's wiped away, destroy it, and you destroy it with it. So we told you about FARRAKHAN. You believe you want to hold on to them, that's fine. So you do hold on. We know the demons can hold on to them. That's an easy one. The rest of you, you're going. And then those of you who know and didn't open your mouth and say anything, and you had other things to do, it says, if you love your mother, I'm not like Elijah Muhammad. I'm not pushing people behind. It says if you love your mother, your father, your brother, sister, anybody, your job, anything more than this message, you're not worthy of it. I try not to take it that far, but that's what it says, because that's what's taking it out of here. Because you don't understand what's going on with this gravitational vortex, and most all of you caught up in it, probably all of you. That's taking you down, and you only got a short time to get out of it. So if you ain't climbing, then you're already lost. If you are climbing, you might not get climb fast enough, because you got to get from the first floor to the second floor. There may be a lot of steps. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. We're at war. It's wartime. It's not war talk anymore. It's wartime. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.